nomination as Economy Minister effective June 17th, while Nick Nazmi will step down on July 4th. Both decisions followed their recent defeats in the PKR party elections. Following the announcement, the Prime Minister's office issued a statement that Anwar had approved their leave requests. However, according to the statement, any further decisions on the matter will be communicated later by the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani has dismissed a speculative report by a news portal claiming he is set to take over as the new Economy Minister following Rafizi's exit from the cabinet. Johari, who is also an UMNO Vice President, stressed that the report has nothing to do with him.
Ini pasal politik dengan kata yang Datuk Sri akan isi jawatan Menteri Ekonomi.
Ini tak ada kena mengena isi tak isi. Ini adalah soal parti PKR. Jadi saya tak mau campur lah ni hal.
Apart from Johari, the portal also linked former Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin to a cabinet post. In a separate development, the Prime Minister said Malaysia's successful hosting of the recent ASEAN summit was driven by the efficiency, dedication and teamwork of all parties involved. He said the smooth execution of the two-day conference was the result of the extraordinary commitment demonstrated by the government machinery and the public who understood Malaysia's responsibilities as host.
Saya katakan, ini yang harus ada. Semangat bekerja sebagai satu pasukan. Dia tak ada fikir kaum, dia tak ada fikir jabatan, dia tak fikir negeri. Dia fikir kecintaan dia menjayakan Malaysia sebagai pengurusi ASEAN. Jadi saya hanya nak ucap penghargaan yang setinggi. Memang saya terkesan, terharu sekali.
Anwar also commended the cooperation among ASEAN leaders in making collective decisions while respecting their own country's interests. The 46th ASEAN Summit concluded on Tuesday following a series of high-level meetings focused on enhancing regional cooperation and strengthening strategic partnerships. Over the two-day event, ASEAN leaders participated in several key meetings, including the second ASEAN GCC Summit, the inaugural ASEAN GCC China Summit, and the 16th Indonesia-Malaysia-Thailand Growth Triangle Summit. Food premises that store or use fewer than 3 subsidised LPG cylinders at any one time are not required to obtain a scheduled controlled goods permit. This is in line with the Supply Control Regulations Amendment 2021, which has been in effect since October 15, 2021. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali clarified that there is no issue of subsidy removals or reduction for LPG. Instead, the ongoing enforcement operation known as OPGASA aims to curb leakages and manipulation involving controlled goods within commercial activities. He stressed that LPG subsidies are intended for domestic use, specifically for household kitchens and not for commercial sectors. Currently, enforcement at food premises is largely focused on advocacy and raising awareness about the relevant regulations. Armizan also addressed confusion over documents handed out by enforcement officers during inspections under OPGASA. He explained that the document in question is a premises inspection statement and not a compound notice, and that no goods have been confiscated. Meanwhile, in Johor, the ministry foiled a suspected illegal LPG decanting operation during a raid at a storage facility in Simpang Renggam on Thursday. The operation, conducted under OPGASA, followed days of intelligence gathering and surveillance. Johor Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry Director Lilis Saslinda Pornomo said numerous LPG cylinders and hose connectors were discovered, believed to have been used to siphon subsidised gas from 14-kilogram domestic cylinders into larger 50-kilogram tanks intended for industrial use. A total of 247 cylinders, both filled and empty, of various brands and sizes, along with equipment, was seized. The estimated value of the seizure is 61,000 ringgit. Further investigations are ongoing to trace the supply chain and identify the individuals or companies involved, including the origin of the LPG and its distribution network. If convicted, individuals face a maximum fine of 1 million ringgit, up to 3 years imprisonment or both, while repeat offenders risk fines of up to 3 million ringgit or 5 years jail. Companies may be fined up to 2 million ringgit and up to 5 million ringgit for subsequent offences. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has seized various assets worth approximately 32 million ringgit believed to belong to a Tan Sri who holds a highway concession following an investigation into the misappropriation of sukuk funds for a highway construction project in the Klang Valley. The seized items include handbags, jewellery, luxury vehicles, watches, cash and a luxury residence. According to sources, the seizures followed raids conducted on Thursday by the MACC Investigation Division at 2 residences in Kuala Lumpur belonging to the Tan Sri. During the raids, the graft busters seized 217 luxury watches of various brands estimated to be worth around 5 million ringgit, 27 handbags valued at over 1 million ringgit and jewellery worth more than 4 million ringgit. The raids also led to the seizure of 9 luxury vehicles with a combined value of nearly 7 million ringgit. The MACC further discovered a storage room containing various types of premium alcoholic beverages at one of the residences, estimated to be worth about 3 million ringgit and believed to be linked to money laundering activities. The MACC also seized a luxury residence in the federal capital, estimated to be worth around 12 million ringgit, believed to belong to the individual in question. All seized items and assets are being held for further investigation under the MACC Act, as well as the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act. Malaysia has launched a pilot project to introduce palm-based B20 biodiesel for ground transport services at KLIA. Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani said the use of B20 biodiesel was a clear reflection of Malaysia's commitment to achieving net zero carbon emissions. The National B20 Biodiesel Programme for the transport sector was first introduced in January 2020 and has since been rolled out in locations such as Langkawi, Labuan and Sarawak.
Jadi ini adalah permulaan perjalanan kita buat untuk airport kita, sementara kita menunggu a new mandate untuk sustainable aviation fuel untuk jet. Jadi bila jet pakai sustainable aviation fuel, ground handling pun kita pakai biodiesel. Jadi dia sebagai satu package yang kita buat untuk airport kita.
Johari explained that Malaysia's biodiesel program began commercially in 2011, starting with the B5 blend and gradually expanding to B7 for the transport sector. Previously, local airports used the B10 biodiesel blend in industrial operations, while the B10 mandate for the transport sector was officially implemented on February 1st, 2019.
Pada masa akan datang, saya juga nak tengok setiap port kita, macam Penang Port, North Port, West Port, PTP Port, and then Johor Port, Kuantan Port. Mereka juga, saya nak tengok macam mana syarikat yang operasikan benda ini boleh start look at B20.
Malaysia aims to increase the use of biodiesel in transport to the B30 level by 2030 as one of the key targets outlined under the National Agri-Commodity Policy 2030. The planned rationalisation of fuel subsidies for RON95 petrol is expected to be postponed to the fourth quarter of this year. According to MIDF Amanah Investment Bank, unresolved issues surrounding eligibility criteria and implementation mechanisms have contributed to the delay. The potential deferment is likely to offer temporary relief for consumers and help sustain private spending amid a stable inflation environment. Second Finance Minister Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan recently indicated that the subsidy rationalisation would take place in the second half of the year. The current focus is on identifying eligible groups to ensure targeted and effective subsidy distribution. Asian and European stocks rose on Thursday after a US federal court blocked President Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs from going into effect. South Korea's Kospi rose 1.89%, while Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 rose 1.88%, and the Topix climbed 1.53%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index advanced 1.35%, while mainland China's CSI 300 moved 0.59%. Meanwhile, European markets showed positive trends at midday, with Germany's DAX and France's CAC 40 rising 0.4%, while Britain's FTSE 100 increased 0.6%. Earlier, the Court of International Trade ruled that an emergency law invoked by the White House did not give the president unilateral authority to impose tariffs on nearly every one of the world's countries. The US Constitution gives Congress exclusive powers to regulate commerce with other nations and cannot be superseded by the president's remit to safeguard the economy. Now, Asian currencies traded lower on Thursday as the dollar strengthened following the U.S. court's decision on Trump's tariffs. The dollar index, which measures the currency against 6 rivals, climbed for a third consecutive session on Thursday and was back above 100 for the first time in a week. The MSCI index of emerging market currencies was down 0.2%. The Singapore dollar dropped as much as 0.7% to its lowest point in more than a week, while the Malaysian ringgit and the Thai baht fell 0.4% each. Despite recent declines, the Taiwan dollar is up over 6.5% in May, on track to log its best month on record. Drugs worth over 7 million ringgit seized. This and more after the break.
Kerja buat apa? Ni aku nak buka bisnes kopi untuk kita ni. Konsep bisnes kita ni mewah. Biji kopi tu sini kena rare.
Drama bersiri sulung Nik Amir Mustafa.
Aku rasa aku tak boleh jual lah band ni.
Lelaki tak bercerita, tapi diam-diam je. Move on, bina life baru.
Tapi perangai you macam...
Tepi. Ya, you tak apa, you okey.
Muat turun dan layan tonton sekarang. Semua favourite anda di sini.
Tanyalah Ustaz minggu ini, Isnin mengimarahkan tahun.
Boleh memberi kata semangatlah kepada anak-anak muda.
Kita dah ada department effect. Yang mana department effect tu dia boleh generatekan effect tu dalam dunia 3D.
Ada interaction yang banyak dengan audience, so audience akan lagi seronok.
Actually peminat-peminat Ejen Ali akan suka sebab lama juga dia orang tunggu kan.
Saya punya stroke tak ada sengit-sengit, tapi pergerakan dia tak kuat lah. Perlahan kan.
Doktor pun pesan, jangan tinggal. Bila dia berjalan, dia pegang je ni, dia pegang. Tapi bila dia tegak tu, saya dah risau. Dia tegak macam ni tak apa. Dia tegak ke tiba-tiba, dung.
Back on Nightline, 6 chicken slaughter and processing facilities at the Selayang wholesale market suspected of employing undocumented foreign workers as slaughterers and using questionable slaughtering methods were raided by the Immigration Department early Thursday morning. The joint operation, which began at around 1:45 a.m, was led by the Putrajaya Immigration Department with support from the Selangor Islamic Religious Department or JAIS. A total of 36 foreign workers comprising 10 Bangladeshis, 25 Myanmar nationals and 1 Indonesian were detained. Some were found to be holding UNHCR refugee cards. Preliminary checks by JAIS revealed that some chickens had died prior to slaughter, thus rendering the process non-compliant with Islamic requirements. Inspectors also found the premises to be dirty, foul-smelling and unhygienic. In some cases, slaughtered chickens were placed on floors clearly contaminated with animal waste. JAIS is also investigating allegations that the high-voltage quote-unquote water stunning method was being carried out at the premises, a practice that could cause chickens to die before being properly slaughtered. In Kuantan, 78 undocumented foreign workers were detained following a 7-hour raid on 3 factories in the Gebeng and Gambang industrial areas, with the majority of those arrested hailing from Bangladesh, China and Cambodia. The operation, codenamed Op Gempur Sasar, targeted 3 industrial premises. A 60-member enforcement team screened more than 300 individuals and detained 74 men and 4 women, all in their 40s, for failing to produce valid documentation. While the majority of the offenders were from Bangladesh and China, others from Cambodia, Myanmar, Vietnam, Pakistan and Sri Lanka were also among those detained. Their employers will be summoned to assist in the probe. The illegal immigrants are being investigated for not possessing valid travel documents and have been taken to the Kemayan Immigration Detention Depot in Bura. Police seized 212 packages of drugs believed to be shabu found hidden in a car during a raid at a vehicle storage facility in Gombak, Selangor on May 14th. The drugs, weighing 222.33 kilograms and estimated to be worth 7.11 million ringgit, were found under the seats and in the boot of a car that had been left at the facility. Gombak Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Nur Arifin Muhammad Nasir said further investigations led to the arrest of a 25-year-old local man who was believed to have acted as the drug courier. Checks revealed that the suspect, who works as a used car salesman, has no prior criminal record and initial urine tests came back negative for drugs. Authorities believe the drugs were sourced from a neighbouring country and were intended for distribution in the Klang Valley. In a separate case, police arrested a couple after more than 2 kilograms of ganja valued at over 6,000 ringgit were found in a car in Desa Jaya last Tuesday. The male suspect, a 34-year-old foreign national, is a student at a private university, while his girlfriend, aged 47, works as an insurance executive. All suspects in both cases have been remanded to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Former Negeri Sembilan Department of Environment DOE Deputy Director S. Sivanatharan was among 2 individuals charged at the Seremban Sessions Court on Thursday with the illegal disposal of scheduled waste. However, both Sivanatharan and Chan Kwai Soon, directors of Nature Energy Products Sendirian Berhad, as well as the company itself, pleaded not guilty to the charge when it was read before Judge Muhammad Kamil Nizam. The accused were charged with unlawfully disposing non-halogenated organic solvent waste in an open area without obtaining approval from the DOE Director General. The offence was allegedly committed at Lot 11224 in Jimah, Port Dickson on October 14, 2024. If found guilty, they face imprisonment of up to 5 years and a maximum fine of 10 million ringgit. The court granted bail of 9,000 ringgit for each of the directors. The case has been set for mention on July 3rd. 4 dead in Navy aircraft crash. The details when Nightline returns.
Tadi naik MRT, ada orang tenung saya lain macam tau.
Weh, awak kena hati-hati tau. Jangan kena gangguan seksual dalam penggotan awam.
Afad, takut tak dengan darah?
Saya okey je.
Kalau macam tu, jangan lupa untuk derma darah sempena Hari Penderma Darah Kebangsaan.
Kuek. Teka bunyi apa tu, Sofia?
Itik kot.
Pandai. Nanti kita akan bawakan topik pelbagai jenis masakan itik tau.
Keselamatan di bangunan tinggi perlu diutamakan. Segalanya dalam MHI minggu ini, Isnin hingga Jumaat.
Jam 10 pagi ditonton juga eksklusif di TV3.
Wanita hari ini.
Memberi itu awalan mulia.
Jangan sampai diri terbeban, sayangi diri anda.
Seekor ayam bukan sekadar isi sahaja.
Hati pedal kulit boleh jadi sajian istimewa.
Apakah maksud sebuah perkahwinan?
Akhirnya lafaz talak jadi jalan, adakah ruang untuk bertahan?
Cuti sekolah dah dekat, nak buat apa bersama dengan anak-anak?
Bersama Ejen Ali, bertindak segera.
Tersekat di antara ibu bapa dan juga pasangan.
Mencari damai dalam dilema ini.
Semua ini kami kupas di WHI TV3.
Dan stream sekarang, ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Daripada arwah mak kita kan. Mak kita buat, kita napok. Kita duduk sekali dengan adik-beradik. Sambil-sambil duduk cakap, sambil buang dengan adik-adik. Tu yang saya cakap ni. Rasa dia lain.
Saya minat permainan, saya minat seni visual. So saya nak hasilkan seni visual yang cantik, video yang cantik. So saya terpaksa buat sendiri. Ada saya hobi adalah gudang ilmu saya. Satu yang terhasil ni, yang nampak wow. Orang tak tengok yang 10 yang dah buang dalam tu sampah.
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Thursday.
Back with the foreign news. A South Korean Navy plane crashed during a training flight on Thursday, killing all 4 crew members on board. The crash occurred at approximately 1:50 p.m. local time, shortly after the P-3 maritime patrol plane departed from its base in the southeastern city of Pohang and crashed due to unknown reasons. The Navy confirmed 4 personnel were aboard the aircraft, comprising 2 officers and 2 non-commissioned officers. Witnesses at the scene reported smoke rising from the mountainside with sounds of explosions, prompting emergency response efforts. There were no immediate reports of civilian casualties on the ground. Investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the crash. The White House on Wednesday confirmed that Elon Musk is leaving the Trump administration after a tumultuous period of efforts to restructure the federal government. Musk's departure comes 4 months after assuming the role as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a newly created agency which enacted a series of controversial job cuts designed to slash federal spending. The billionaire will now rededicate himself to his businesses, which include electric vehicle maker Tesla and rocket manufacturer SpaceX. According to a source, Musk's departure was decided at a senior staff level. This follows his criticism of Trump's marquee tax bill, which he described as too expensive and argued would undermine his work with the U.S. DOGE service. At least 64 people were killed across the Gaza Strip as starving Palestinians struggle to access the limited amount of aid supplies that have entered the coastal enclave. At least 23 people were killed on Thursday in a series of Zionist attacks on residential buildings in the Bureij refugee camp in central Gaza. In a separate attack, 7 others were killed after strikes hit a kindergarten and a home sheltering displaced families in Jabalia. Later on Thursday, multiple explosions were reported near a newly opened aid distribution point run by the previously unknown US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation at the Netzarim corridor in central Gaza. Earlier on Wednesday, Hamas announced it had reached an agreement with US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff on a general framework for a permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. US President Donald Trump, however, has yet to review and comment on the matter. At least 7 people died when a migrant boat capsized as rescuers were escorting it to a port in Spain's Canary Islands. The open-topped boat carrying about 180 people went down on Wednesday as it neared a resting harbour on El Hierro, the archipelago's smallest island. Authorities said a rescue vessel was escorting the boat to the harbour, and as it approached, many of its passengers appeared to rush to one side of the precarious vessel, causing it to capsize. Among the dead are 2 5-year-old girls as well as a 16-year-old girl and 4 women. A medical helicopter and several local divers assisted in the rescue efforts, with many specialist divers supporting the emergency services. Switching to sports now, badminton and the 2025 Singapore Open. The national shuttlers continued their impressive run of form on Thursday after delivering another strong performance to secure their spots in the quarterfinals. After 5 consecutive first-round losses this year, national men's singles shuttler Leong Jun Hao caused a major upset by defeating Jonathan Christie, marking his first ever win over the Indonesian in straight sets. Jun Hao secured a 21-16, 21-19 win over the world number 5 to set up a meeting with world number 2 Kunlavut Vititsan of Thailand. Meanwhile, men's doubles pair Erin Chia and So Woo Yik ended their 8-match losing streak against Japan's Takuro Hoki and Yugo Kobayashi in the second round. The 2024 Paris Olympic bronze medalists battled to a 21-18, 24-26, 21-12 victory in a tightly contested match, setting up a rematch of the Malaysia Masters final against compatriots Man Wei Chong and Thi Kai Woon in the quarterfinals. Earlier, top women's doubles pair Pearly Tan and M. Tina kept up their strong form by battling past Japan's Mayu Matsumoto and Yuki Fukushima 25-23, 21-18 in the second round. The win sets them up for a quarterfinal clash with China's fast-rising pair Jia Yifan and Zhang Shujian. On to athletics, the NCAA Track and Field Championships. National sprinter Azim Fahmi did well to qualify for the men's 100 metres quarterfinals in Florida on Wednesday. Azim displayed a solid performance after finishing third in his heat with a time of 10.26 seconds. Tomas McCallum of Tennessee won the heat in 10.16 seconds, while Jamarian Stubbs of Alabama was second after clocking in 10.18 seconds. The 21-year-old recorded the 7th fastest time among 47 sprinters in the event. Only the top 24 advanced to the quarterfinals, which will be held on Thursday. Azim's consistent performance in the championship is seen as proof of his capabilities on the international stage and a confidence booster for the national camp in future sporting events. Tennis now. The 2025 Roland Garros. Carlos Alcaraz recovered from a mid-match dip on Wednesday, where he moved past former foe Fabian Marozsan to record his 20th victory. The reigning champion lost to Marozsan at the ATP Masters 1000 event in Rome 2 years ago and was troubled at times by the Hungarian's death drop shot. After dropping the second set, Alcaraz quickly put to bed any concerns with a dominant performance in the third and fourth sets, sealing a hard-fought 6-1, 4-6, 6-1, 6-2 victory. Alcaraz, a four-time Grand Slam winner, goes on to face Bosnian journeyman Damir Jomur for a place in the last 16. Earlier, Holger Rune advanced to the third round with a straight sets win over Emilio Nava. The 10th-seeded Dane overpowered the American 6-3, 7-6, 6-3 and will next face France's own Quentin Alice. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at how Benin's circus-like street arts are gaining global attention through its Cirque en Fusion festival, bringing new structure and visibility to a cherished heritage. I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.